I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to check the chat. Not seeing any chats yet, but I know there's a slight delay. But we are on air, so I'll give it a minute. You go ahead and put your stuff in. Let me know where you're from, what you're looking for today. I know there's going to be some really, really cool information that's going to get shared with us today. And I want you all to take the time right now and maybe log out of your Facebook. I know you're in Facebook. I know you're in Facebook. Go ahead and log out of that and like get yourself ready to be focused. You know, get focused. So let me see. Okay, I see Michelle. Oh, wait a second. I just turned off the chat. Okay, now I see you. All right, yeah, cool. Way to go, Michelle. Welcome, welcome. Robin, I know you're here, so welcome to you.
I'm excited. We're going to make sure everybody gets we'll stay and answer questions. I'll stay and answer questions until people have their questions answered. I'm committed that, I know your time is valuable. So I want to make sure everybody who spends time with us gets what they came for.
That's right. So you're in the right place. This is how to start a business with Amazon from your kitchen table with little money. And we're going to help you with that. So like I said, go ahead, turn off all your distractions. Turn off those annoying pop-ups. Facebook is definitely an annoying pop-up because as soon as it starts popping, you start moving over there, and then you're following all the crazy news of the day and trying to make sure that your flight's not on your night. So the other thing you want to do is take notes. I mean, if you've got an app that you like to take notes in, go ahead and pull that up. Or if you're like me, I'm like old school. I'm paper and pen, and I don't know what it is. It's something about a paper and a pen that makes me remember what I'm thinking about at the time. So go ahead and grab that. Get yourself ready for that. Another thing is, we've got so many people, and people are going to ask questions. Hi, Ruth Ann. I see you from Florida. Bobby, I'm seeing you. It's fantastic seeing you, Bobby. Great to hang out with you again. Alice, Adrian, Christy, awesome, guys. Okay, so hold your questions till the end. We're going to take all questions, just like Robin just said. She's going to hang out with you guys until all of our, and I don't care if it's the question about this thing or if it's a question about something else that's going on in your world. We will take your question. I mean, of course, she's an Amazon expert. We can limit it to that space. That would probably help. But if you've got other questions, hey, that's okay, man. I will help you with your children. I will. No, I'm just playing. But anyway, so hold your questions to the end. We're going to do a Q&A, and I will show you in the app how to ask a question, and I will do that at the end. Also, at the end, if you stay to the end, we got something really special for you. So hopefully you can hang out with us it'll be about 45 minutes to an hour. So go ahead and clear out that time in your brain, but the Q&A might last a little longer, but at least the main content should be done within the hour. All right. And it looks like we got a pretty full house up in here. So I'm ready to rock and roll. If you are, I'm going to hand it over to the queen of the hour right now, Miss Robin Johnson. And for those of you that don't know Robin, you will be in love in just about 15 minutes. It'll take about 15 minutes for you to like her. But then after that, you're going to love her, So Robin's like, oh my God, here you go. All right, Robin, are you ready? Go for it, man.
I was born ready.
Oh,
well, actually, you wouldn't really think that. One of the book that I wrote was called The Unlikely Entrepreneur. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. But, I started my business really out of necessity. I worked for a church. I had been the youth minister, and then I had been working with the little kids. So, I got paid to go to Disneyland. I got paid to run Vacation Bible School. And so I loved my job. And, there were some things that, of course, with every job, there's things that you'd like to be a little different, but it was a great job and I loved it. But when I had my son, things started to get a little tight. When you work for a church, they say the benefits are out of this world. And that is because the pay is not. And so, things got tight with my son when he was 2. He started to get really, really sick, and they there was one point when they were testing him for Job's disease, like Job from the Bible, and they said the test was going to be covered, and then it ended up, it came back as it wasn't going to be covered, and the bill was, I think, for like $4,000. And I remember just sitting in the doctor's office thinking, how do I pay the mortgage and keep my son alive? And I knew something had to change. I had my daughter. She was very, very young when we started. We took $100 out of our emergency fund. We were doing the Dave Ramsey plan. And then on the way back from a trip to California, because, somebody had, said, well, you can come stay with us in our timeshare, my best friend. And on the way back, I was listening to Dave Ramsey. I think it was CD6. And he was talking about this woman who was buying strollers locally and selling them on Craigslist. And I could do that. I could do that. And then I started thinking back to the garage sale I just had, and this lady named Chiquita who came and bought like $400 worth of my stuff. Now, in retrospect, I wish she hadn't bought all my great eBay stuff. But, so what we did is we took $100, and I remember the 520s in my hand. And because it felt like $1 million. And we started going to garage sales. And from garage sales, we started listing things on Craigslist, then on eBay. Then we started moving to Amazon and eBay and Craigslist. Primarily, we still sell actively on eBay. We still sell actively on Amazon. This is, some of our first couple years, that we have going on here. What we did is we started really kind of buying things in retail stores and growing it from there. But we also built a very successful wholesale business. And so as the Amazon marketplace has changed, we've really changed and adapt with it. We grew really steadily. These boxes, or one day we went out to go.
You know what? Hey, are you showing slides yet?
Oh, yeah.
No, we're not seeing it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a problem. That happens to me more. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Can we call you for half a second now? It's coming. There it's going. I see it. It's about to come. It
wouldn't be a webinar without a technical difficulty, right?
Awesome. Okay, now we got you. Go for it. Finish.
Yeah. So you can see, we did a ton. The reason why Amazon, when you sell your first Christmas, they don't let you sell merchant fulfilled where you ship it yourself, tested the waters, this was like about a quarter of one day's sales. So it was insane. We grew really, really fast. 2001, we gave our business we had when we started. I mean, my husband was like going to bed at like 2 a.m. getting up and working the all really make it work eBay side, and we were trying to systemize. I still worked for a church. I quit my job as a church employee in June, and for that next year I homeschooled my son for a year while he was in preschool. That first year, with including that in 2011 we grossed $180,000 in revenue in the first year. Now that's not profit, but I will tell you that the profit, by leaving my job, I got a significant pay raise, pretty much double what I would have made in my job. Now, so the more expensive, or the more you get paid, the more you're going to have to work to really replace that income. So it was kind of a blessing that the church didn't pay a ton, but I was paid very well for my industry, and I worked for a very wealthy parish. So, I wasn't getting paid like $10 an hour either. So, I mean, I did have a strong salary. Had years where we've spent over 67 days in Disneyland. I don't even live in California. So we would, my kids got used to going to Disneyland twice a month, every other month, spending 3 or 4 at a time. We were able to handle financial situations and health issues. My son was diagnosed with severe dysgraphia, and the school, in order to get them to give us the help we needed, we had to pay about $3,000 in specialists to get specialists and advocate care for my son to get him the IEP he needed. We had the sewer line, like between the house and the sewer line broke. I think it was a couple $1,000s. And we were able to do that where before, I don't know what we would have done. We would have had to borrow it from my mother-in-law, or we just would have lost it. There was no there was no hope for us financially. We were beyond the breaking point. And now I get to spend every day doing what I love. I'm my own boss. I only get to work with people that I love. So while I loved working at the church, you know, sometimes like church has got like the grouchy old lady, or, you know, there's like all sorts of stuff, whatever it is about every job, right? Because churches are filled with people, work with the people that I love. I'm somebody that I don't enjoy working with. And that's why I get to work with people like John, people I have fun with, people that I enjoy and respect. Since then, I've developed expertise. I have a podcast, and I've written a best-selling book on Amazon. And I have spoken at a lot of different places. I forgot, I'm a contributor for Search Engine Journal, and I've spoken at Harvard for Women's Entrepreneurship Day. So, that's an all nice story, but there's not really any reason for you to give up a Wednesday night if there's not a way for you to replicate those results for yourself. And honestly, so I have a confession to make. My husband was like and so now I have like MLM PTSD, and you know, like it's not that, I mean, we know people, we're friends with some of the top earners in a couple companies. Like, I think there's some MLMs that are great. But, you know, somebody wants to meet me at a Starbucks that I haven't talked to in 6 months, I get nervous. So anything that's get rich quick usually never pans out for me. And so for me, it wouldn't be worth my time to sit on a webinar if it was get rich quick. So what I'm telling you is not get rich quick. It's a way to start a real business. It takes effort. It takes consistent action over time. There are no shortcuts. But it is working smart and following the right process and having somebody to guide you that understands how Amazon works. And, you know, the other thing is that Amazon changes constantly, and tactics are usually outdated by a lot of these courses, you know, because they aren't actively selling themselves, or they create the course once and they're not going back and update our stuff constantly. And we're always looking for what's happening next. So we're actually starting to tell our clients now about things that are going to be announced in the next couple of weeks. So it's not just about reliving old stories of glory. This is not only what I built here, but what we have had the complete honor to, is like the best part of my life right now, is I get to watch these people who started with us, who've trusted us, and have, you know, been able to leave their full-time jobs, have been able to pay off debt, have been able to, you know, finally have the life that they really, really wanted, but were afraid to ask for because it seemed selfish or it seemed like too much. And now they're able to contribute to the things that they want. Now, there are also clients that we have that don't get those results, but usually it's because they didn't follow they didn't take that consistent action over time, and they didn't follow things all the way through. So this is not get rich quick. This is a real business that's attainable, that's a really great opportunity because of what it's where we are in the marketplace. Now, a lot of people, when it comes to starting their own businesses, especially on Amazon, is because people are looking for get rich quick. They want to make $10,000 in a month and work 2 hours a week. Anything that is like that isn't going to last for very long. So you have to think about, what do I want? If time and money wasn't a consideration, what would you be doing with your life in 5 years? And it's a really important question. So, you know, I'm just going to ask it again. If time and money wasn't a consideration, what would you be doing with your life? And the actions you take in your career or your business should all be lining up to help you fulfill on that. It's really easy to start a business because you want to have freedom and then build yourself a prison cell. So it's really important that you start with the end in mind and you're really clear on what kind of lifestyle you want and how much you need your business to generate in order for you to have the life that you really, really want. Now, the other thing is a lot of people like the idea of being a business owner. The entrepreneur has become a very sexy word. But I will tell you, it's not always sexy. There are days days in the beginning where I was covered in dirt or sweat, or, you know, I was sitting on the floor in a retail store because I was just so tired I couldn't stand anymore. And, you know, sometimes the idea that we have of what being an entrepreneur isn't really the reality. Being a business owner can be scary. It can be intimidating, but it is definitely something that is doable if you're willing to put in the work. And I think that's really the biggest thing. That consistent action over time is the reason why most people fail. And, you know, it's having a system that is proven. So you have to have a clear action plan. That clear action plan should ultimately take you to where that time and money goes into consideration. Where does that go? But that plan has to be current to the marketplace, especially in the tech space, especially in e-commerce, because things are changing so much, so fast that if you try to take a technology or a process that worked 3 years ago that hasn't been tweaked and updated, it's just not going to work. Result. So we're seeing people with success. And something that was also going to help you create a support structure. Now that support structure, you need to have a place of questions to see that other people are winning so that you can stay motivated. But also you don't want to create a support structure in the way that you set up your day, in what results that you're looking for. One of the things that we really advise our clients on is to be focused on a revenue producing day where, whether it's, what should you outsource? If you're getting paid 6 figures in your job, yes, it's going to take you a little bit more to pass that so you can leave, but you have an ability that people who that I didn't have, which was, you can hire out and outsource a lot of more things right out of the bat. So it's, creating a support structure in the way that you're using your plan that's kind of structured to your situation. So all the places that you could build a business, why would you start on Amazon and marketplace selling? Amazon is still very much in its infancy. It feels to people like John and I that it's been around forever, but really it's just getting started. People are just really starting to have it become part of the culture. It's starting to really become embraced by a larger portion of the population, and it's constantly changing. Now you might see that as a disadvantage, that now it's harder than it was before. But let me tell you my experience is that people who are coming into the space generally have an advantage over people that have been in the space for over 3 years. Now that seems counterintuitive because there are some things that are legitimately harder than they were 3 years ago. There are new restrictions, things like that. However, you come with fresh eyes and you come without resting on your laurels. So what I've seen with a lot of people who started selling on Amazon, in maybe 2006, 2007, is they got really complacent with the way things were. They didn't change as the platform changed. And so they feel like Amazon is dying. And that always really it's for a long time, it really confused me because in reality, I'm seeing all these people who are coming to the marketplace that are going from $0 to $250,000 a month in just a few months, or they're getting to $10,000, $15,000 a month in just a few short months and with not a ton of capital. But it's because the people who come into the marketplace now, yes, there are certain restrictions that weren't there before, but you have fresh eyes and you're willing to adapt as that marketplace changes because you're still hungry. And so you have an advantage over some of the people who've been there for a long time. Now, Amazon is an amazing place to build because if you start to build your own website, it takes like 6 months to really get the SEO or you have to spend a lot on pay-per-click. Amazon is a way for you to get results very quickly. You can get your first sale within the first couple of weeks. 51 cents out of every e-commerce dollar is spent on Amazon.com. Spent on Amazon. And, over 44% of searches start on Amazon. And that's what Google says. And Google doesn't like Amazon. So I'm sure that it really kind of hurt their soul to say that, so much of product searches start at Amazon. For most people who are Amazon Prime customers, they don't even look off Amazon. I just needed to order a dress for my daughter. And I didn't go to a store, and I didn't go to Kohl's, and I didn't go to Target, and I didn't go to JCPenney or Nordstrom.com. I went to Amazon and I ordered something off there because I knew it would be here the next day. And I knew that she'd have time to try it on before this event that we have coming up. That instant credibility and the instant authority that you have from selling on Amazon allows people to feel safe in their transactions. And because we're going to teach you how to use Amazon's Fulfillment by Amazon network, which makes it available via Prime, so you get the little Prime logo, it means that you can have a distribution and scalability that you don't have access to necessarily with eBay. We were doing over $500,000 just from my living room, and we didn't really have much staff either. We were able to do that because we were utilizing Amazon's system in order to scale. So it really provides a really great opportunity. Now, on the front of Amazon, it looks like one solid unified selling place. All the books are together with the Kindle, it's together with the shirt. There's actually a lot of different ways to sell on Amazon. However, we're going to be focusing on this one right here, this Amazon Seller Central, because that's really where a lot of the opportunity is right now. And the opportunity is only growing, especially within the wholesale area. So selling physical products on Amazon, anybody can list on Amazon.com. If somebody tells me that they want to get a new account started, you don't have to have, anything special. They have been toying with the idea of having a business license. And so when you open your Amazon.com Seller Central account, if you haven't already, they might now ask for that, but that's really easy to get. You're going to need to spend time to learn the platform. Now, some things to know about Amazon. Amazon has a cultural bias towards people taking a deep dive, meaning you really understand their policies, and then you take ownership. So if you say, well, I made a mistake because I didn't know, that's not a good way to get into Amazon goods graces. So you want to know what the policies are and know what the rules are, because you only get one shot. When Amazon bans you, if you break their rules, and there's a lot of rules, if you just try to kind of put it together, or you're taking advice off of a lot of free YouTube things where there's a lot of people recommending things that are no longer allowed, or maybe are kind of black hat, they not only ban you, they ban your bank account, they ban your IP address, they ban your computer's MAC address. So it's really hard to get another account. And to get reinstated can be very expensive and take a lot of time. But if you have, it's a great place for proof of concept, for you to start your e-commerce business, get instant results, and then section you want to ultimately take it in. And so we've seen some people take it offline too. That they started on Amazon, they started to build up an inventory that they liked, and then they started to create brick and mortar retail stores because of it. We've seen people move into completely different industries, taking the knowledge that they got from working on Amazon. So Amazon doesn't have to be your end all be all. It can be a place to raise capital, to gain business experience. It's a tool that can be used in a lot of different ways. Now, primarily, there's about 4 main ways that people find inventory to sell on Amazon. That first one is used books. And then there's retail and online arbitrage. So that's those pictures of us kind of at the store, and where all the toys there. We were buying things at Target and Walmart and all sorts of different stores, and we were reselling them on Amazon. Now you can do the same thing searching online, and we have instructions in our course how to do that. But some brand restrictions some of the new rules that Amazon has recently placed has made that a little tougher. So we've started to really kind of work with our newer clients in a different way to make sure that they maximize their ability to grow and lessening the number of frustrations that they experience. So wholesale is a really great option, and we teach you how to catch emerging companies. So kind of companies the size of what you see on Shark Tank. And companies that already have an existing demand, and how to really help them manage their presence on Amazon. The other one is brand creation and product creation. And a lot of times you'll hear that abbreviated in our space, PL, or private label. Now, private label is not what I would recommend for beginners for a lot of reasons. One is it takes a very heavy investment. It takes a lot to launch, and it's probably the most expensive way to get in. So while there's some good money to be made, I see a lot of people losing 5 figures before they make any money. So what we recommend is that, you really start with the used books. The idea behind that is you're going to learn how to use the capital with the cheapest inventory you can find. Once you really understand the platform, then we're either going to move you into retail arbitrage or wholesale. And once you have a chance to learn what it's like to launch products, to be able to trust that you're able to pick the good products that will be able to sell well on Amazon, then you can decide whether or not you want to continue with wholesale, or if you wanted to create your own product. And wholesale is a great training ground for private label, or creating your own brand if you've always had that desire to be on Shark Tank. Now, when we're looking at wholesale or retail arbitrage or even private label, the key to Amazon and the key to really to maximizing your profit on Amazon is that the riches are in the niches. And so you're looking for items that are going to sell over retail. If you're not really clear on what supply and demand is, get a pencil. I'm going to tell you what to Google. right, get a pencil. You're going to Google supply and dance. And it should be on a website called We the Economy. And they really go through how supply and demand works. So if you kind of know what it meant because you remember something from high school, but you're not really sure, it kind of just feels like a fuzzy abstract thing, go watch that video. It really crystallizes it. Supply and dance from We the Economy. So when we're looking for products on Amazon, we want to find items that are selling for over retail. So you want to think about colors and flavors. So like these Ninja Turtles right here, and these examples are older, so these prices aren't current. I'm just showing you an example. I mean, I could try to find new examples every time I do a presentation like this, but it would be a little silly since there's always another product like this. So if you look at this product, the numbers won't match, but there are lots of other products that this example would hold true for. So these turtles, when you buy them wholesale, you get, three Donatello, three Michelangelo, three Leonardo, and, so you get, several of each, but then you might get one of the bad guys, like side bad guys, and you get one of either like Rachel or Splinter, which is the rat. So when we were selling these items, what we would do is we would look specifically for the short packed item. So the item that only came one of. So maybe in a food example, maybe in a assortment pack, kind of like when you go to get your kids' T-ball stuff, you get like 12 Doritos and 12 Fritos and like 3 Sun Chips. So we would be looking for the Sun Chips in that thing. So if it was a wholesale versus, buying like just a chip pack at the store. So since Rachel was harder to find, everything else was at $10, but Rachel was, I'm sorry, April, $36.99, and we could actually, so we were charging about $39.99 for her, even though we were buying her for $7.99, just like all the other turtles in the store, because she was in short supply, and people and the kids that were collecting these figures, they needed April to finish off their collection, but since there was only a couple of them at each store, they became more valuable. The supply didn't meet the demand, and so the price went up. And we see this happen every Christmas, right? Whether it's Tickle Me Elmo or, there's always, every year there's something that sells way above retail. Now that actually happens all year in all different products. I've seen it happen in tampons. I've seen it happen in acids. I've seen it happen in pretty much anything. So there are some times where the supply doesn't meet the demand, and that's what causes the price to go up, and that's where you can make a large ROI, a good return on your investment with single products, because you're finding areas of the market where the supply is not meeting the demand. And anybody can do this. So Adriano is one of our clients. He used to be, he was an EOD when he was in the military. It was explosive disorder ordinance. And he was also a police officer, and he was expecting his third child, and he needed to leave his job because he didn't feel like it was a safe career for him anymore. And he started full-time doing Amazon. And so he started following what we were doing, and now he's full-time. He does Amazon, he does some day trading, but when his little son is he's like the cutest kid ever, but his son doesn't really know what it's like to not have daddy around all the time. And that's something that not a lot of kids can say. He was able to be there for all of the firsts, and he was able to say, when I need a break, I'm going to go to this co-working space, but for the most part I want to with his son. So he's really able to do that. So we're going to play a little game here, because sometimes it's with the thing with Amazon, and the reason why there's no secret. And, I've taught my entire family how to do this. My aunt does this. My stepmom does this. My sister was doing it for a while. My uncle did it until he passed away. My whole family. My cousin does like a ton of revenue as well on Amazon. So my whole family does this. And when I tried to teach my Aunt Dorothy, now my Aunt Dorothy, she is a very strong woman. She used to be like a CFO for the Phoenix Zoo, and she was a teacher for a while, and so she's very, we were trying to go through how to look through all of these items to find the right ones that are selling for a profit, and she just looked at me and she's like, I know there's something you're not telling me. You need to tell me how do I find the ones? And I was like, the only way to look is to look up a lot of different items. It's a numbers game. That's what's cool about it. And you're not depending on somebody else or hoping and dreaming and wishing it works out. Like you do a lot of numbers, you do a lot of research, and then you're going to find a certain amount of items and you're going to be able to sell those. So in your mind, I want you to pick which one do you think is the winner here? Which one is the one that was selling for well over retail? And the Super Marvels, the Marvel Superhero Squad set was selling, and we bought this, I want to say, for $7.99 at like CVS. But this is something that even if I had bought wholesale, so even if CVS was getting it for, $6.99, I probably could have bought it wholesale, maybe for 4 or 5 in a very small quantity, and it still would have been very, very profitable. But this particular item, because the licensing with the demand for Marvel branded Play-Doh that wasn't being met. And so that caused the price for this item to go up. So you have to look for brands and for items that are going to be kind of on the fringes so that you can increase the ROI that you're getting. Oh, I guess I bought it for $9.99. So we made $14.25 profit after Amazon fees. All right, so pick which one is the profitable one. So 2 of them were not profitable and 1 was profitable. And again, these are unicorns. Don't expect to find these every time. These are like the holy grail finds, okay? So this was an item that was really, really hard to find. It was a very popular item, and it became very difficult to get. So you can see it's selling for 72. A pack of 1 is selling for 72. A pack of 2 is selling for 134. We bought it for $9.99 and at a profit of $48.54 each item that we sold. And when we first got started, it was similar. We were buying something at $5, selling it at $25. So we were buying hundreds of them. So this is possible. Now, again, these are unicorns. Most of the things you're going to find, you want to be somewhere between 50 and 70%. So if I spend $10, I want to get at least, $15, $17, $18 back after Amazon fees. But this is an example of if you really dig through items and find things, what you can do. All right, pick the profitable item. And this Power Rangers Megaforce Skyline, at this time that this one went up in price, they discontinued this model, but it was a lot of collectors were buying it. So you can see that it was actually ranked fairly. It was selling at this price too. It's not just somebody had listed it. It was selling consistently at this price because we sell items, several times a month that are ranked, sometimes 500,000 in toys. So it was still selling consistently at this little. I mean, this was just like a little car. So maybe like 4, I think it says here, it was 2.5 inches by 7.5 inches by 12 inches. And that's the cardboard, the top of the cardboard, right? So we're selling for $120. So this one is the one we bought for $7.99, and this one had a crazy $90 profit. Again, unicorns, not what you're going to find every day, but just to let you know that they have been out there and they are out there. So Erin is another example. She's kind of on the opposite end where she was a C-level executive. She was a 6-figure earner. And right now she's doing over $50,000. She has her own product line that she's been developing. And she actually spends less than 10 to 12 hours a week on her Amazon business. Now that's because she spent months working really, really hard, creating systems, and she kept her executive job working Amazon part-time, and then she hired some people to help gain her some leverage. So while she's only working 12 hours a week on Amazon herself, she does have people who are helping her. But she used the capital that she had from her high-income job to help her outsource some of the things that were kind of below her pay grade. It doesn't make sense for her to do since she gets paid so much per hour at her regular job. So really helps. This is another example of an item that sold that's selling over retail. Now, a lot of these brands are brands that are really well known. When you're looking for wholesale, you're looking for little more weird brands, more niche stuff. So for a while, this particular brand has become a little too popular, but we used to sell a lot of, it was ass-kicking hot sauce, and we would sell jalapeno. They would make a jalapeno sauce for us, and so we were selling that and was doing really, really well. Or we would sell some Cajun spices and things like that. So you want to find some lesser known things when you move into wholesale. Now, when you buy something to sell on Amazon, you're going to buy, at the beginning, we're going to have you buy just one of each book, right? And we're going to have you use books because the margins are much better. You can spend 50 cents on a book. The most I've ever made on a book was I bought it for $1 and I sold it for, I think it was 136. So I made about $100 on that one book. But most of the time you're going to make, maybe $4 to $5. It's going to take you a lot more books. So you're going to have to go through a lot of numbers to get the inventory to have that sustainable income from books. I'm not telling you, this is not get rich quick, remember? So, but you're going to buy the item. So it could be 20 different books, right here. It could be, 3 of one thing and 5 of the other, or it could be a wholesale shipment where you get, an entire group of one thing. You're going to box those up. You're going to tell Amazon what's in the box, and you're going to label it. So Amazon has a special way to create a barcode. And so you're going to put this special barcode on there that's going to tell Amazon, this is my product, and it goes to this page on Amazon. You're going to put everything in the box, let them know what's in the box, and then you're going to ship it to one of their warehouses. Now, they're going to have you send some of them to Phoenix and some of them to, Chattanooga, and some of them maybe to Tennessee. And because they want those items to be close to you, because that's how you get that buy box. That's how they want everybody to, when you order something from Amazon, they want to make it so you can get it maybe the next day, or worst case scenario, that you get it, 2 days from now. It will go to Amazon's warehouse. This is a picture of one of Amazon's warehouses, and they'll keep all of the stock. And when it sells, they're going to ship the item to the customer, and they will let you send an email letting you know it's shipped. And if the customer has a problem, say they want to return it, Amazon will handle that for you. Now, it's simple, but it's not easy. The sourcing takes time, and especially the book part is kind of labor intensive, and it can be really frustrating getting everything to work in the beginning. So it does take time. Now, Amazon is a really weird place with a lot of weirdos. So, you have to really take the time to learn what Amazon wants and how they want things prepared. We can help you with that. And you need to take your time to do it right. Remember, if you get suspended on Amazon, it's very expensive and difficult sometimes to get reinstated. So it is really, really important that you do things correctly. So, the people ask me how much you can make. And, we have people who live very humbly in Tennessee, that maybe they only bring home 40,000. It doesn't really, that's enough for them. We have multiple people who are doing over 6 figures, but they work really, really hard. Luck had nothing to do with their success. They busted their behinds. You can, what I like about it is I get to decide how much I'm going to make. And I get to be in control of my destiny. If something happens, at least I know what's going to be coming. I'm not just going to get fired one day. Like, I get to say how my life goes. And having the freedom of being able to say, I'm not going to be at the will of somebody else. I'm not going to stress out. I remember the first time that my daughter got my kids and my kids get sick. They're both fine now. If anybody's wondering, they're both fine. But my daughter was in the hospital with a kidney infection, and it was the first time we'd had a hospital visit since I had quit my job. And I remember thinking at the hospital how incredibly grateful I was that I didn't have to call in sick. I didn't have to explain why I needed to be there. I didn't need to feel guilty because I wasn't there. I didn't have to apologize. Nobody was going to take my slack. I could just be with my daughter and let business wait because it wasn't important that day. There have been days where, my son, there was last time this year for spring break, or no, it was right before summer. He's like, can we just go to California? And to be able to just be like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go. We'll go next weekend. That's not something that ever would have been possible for my family, for my life. I mean, we couldn't barely afford to go to the movies, let alone take a trip to California and spend days on the beach and, ride bikes and do all of these fun things. So you can make and you can leave your job. We know lots of people who do this full time, and they actually make more than they did. Now, again, there's no guaranteed income. This comes down to What are you willing to put into it? And every business has risks associated. So you never want to spend more in inventory than you can afford to lose. So especially I'm always very leery of people putting things on credit cards. That's why we're going to use the used books to help you gain your capital and gain your experience, because we want you to be as profitable as profitable as quickly as possible. So Amazon's marketplace is changing. And there's some new changes that are rolling out that a lot of people are going to get frustrated and they're going to leave. And this happens every year, but there's also a really good time for new people to come in and to stake their claim. So now is the time to get started because as Amazon rolls these policies out, generally speaking, they grandfather the people who are already into these things. So, and we've worked with literally thousands of sellers, authors, product brand owners. We've worked with a lot of people. We've had, people from every country every country or every state in the country, and like over 60 countries around the world listen to our podcast and learn from our materials. So this is the recommended path for new sellers. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail, but you're going to do 5 to 20 shipments of used books to generate the capital to start the clock, because Amazon waits to make sure that you're not, like a scammer trying to take people's money and run. So we want to start with that. Now, the amount of shipments is going to depend on the total capital that you have to invest. If you are starting on a shoestring, then you're going to have to do a couple more shipments of books, because we want to make sure that you feel like there's enough money coming back into your account to justify these expenses. When people go straight into wholesale, then what we see happen is people are afraid to pull the trigger because they don't have any proof of concept. So our goal is to try to get you to some revenue as quickly as possible. Then we're going to move into the wholesale process. You're going to continue doing those used books until you get your first or second wholesale order, and you're going to kind of gradually wean yourself off the books into wholesale. With wholesale, you find the product once and you're able to reorder it over and over again. And this is also where you can hire a virtual assistant to do a lot of those, the data entry and a lot of the account management for you, so that your time is freed up for doing the things that you really want to do. Whether it's having a dog ranch or traveling or just spending more time at Disney World, whatever it is for you. And for some of you who are younger, maybe you're like looking to take over the world. It frees you up to start other businesses, and that's what I did. Potentially move into consulting, or creating your own brand. So, not private label in the way that we talk about it sometimes within our community, because I think that some things are going to be changing significantly as far as the private label space and what is Amazon's expectations are. So let's go ahead and go through those steps a little bit more detail. You're going to open your Amazon Seller Central account. Now, if you're going to do a quick start where you're really going to be committed to this, then do the Pro account where it's $40 a month, because once you sell at least 40 items, it breaks even. If you're going to do a slow warm up, then you're not quite ready to run yet, then just sign up for the regular non-professional account. And once you get to the point where you're starting to sell 20, 30 items per month, then you would upgrade. I mean, I think if you're really looking to leave your job, you need to be scanning a ton of books, sending a ton of books in, so that you can generate enough revenue so that you have the capital to invest in wholesale. I'd like to see your Amazon business be self-sufficient. So you say we're investing this much money in it, and we're just reinvesting that much money for a while, and then we're going to start taking money out. So you're going to look for items that are over 15 in price, that will move in 6 months or less, and we're going to show you how to find those things. And books are really high margins, but you do want to watch for fees. So if you're not really careful in what you send in, so if you send in, for example, a lot of books that won't sell just because the price isn't right, then you can actually end up losing money on each book. Or there's storage fees that if you're not really watching for, that can really eat up all of your profits. So, but the best thing about books is it builds capital and your experience and your ability to trust yourself as an entrepreneur. This gets money in your account quickly. It starts Amazon's hold clock, and it starts. Amazon will ship the items once they are sold, so you don't have to store the items in your house. No running to the mailbox every day. And if you sell on eBay, you can actually, or Etsy or someplace else, if your item is active on Amazon, you can use what's called multi-channel fulfillment. And I think InkFrog actually does it now there's like a seamless integration with InkFrog that you can actually have your Amazon items moved into eBay. You just want to make sure that you're not violating anybody's trademarks because you don't want to get a Vero account if you're selling on eBay, right? So, but you can website and if it get out of your Amazon inventory. So it provides you with a lot more scalability. So then we're going to go to buying wholesale from niche companies. This is going to help you bypass Amazon's brand restrictions. We're going to teach you how to catch emerging marketplaces. A lot of people will send people to, try to go for the Lego and for, Hasbro. That, you're just never going to get a better deal than Walmart. The reason that retail arbitrage works so well is because we would go to stores that were buying in such volume that when they were clearancing stuff out, they were actually selling it below wholesale, but way below wholesale because they got a huge discount for ordering such a large quantity. So you don't have to attend these trade shows live. You can do it all via email. You are going to have to go through a lot more numbers if you just do it email. If you email and call, there'll be a smaller number of companies. And then the quickest way is to actually go to the show, but I know not everybody has the physical capabilities to do that. So you can build without that. We're also going to teach you to hire a virtual assistant. So we have somebody in the Philippines that does our data entry and kind of looking all the items up to see what's profitable for us. So we don't have to, I can spend time at the beach with my kids instead of trying to find out which items. We had a sales rep today that just sent us a couple of opportunity buys, things that were being discontinued, and she wanted to know if we wanted to purchase them. And those are the best kind because if they're discontinued, the supply is going to go down on those items and the price will go up. So it allows us to really maximize our time. And so I could spend things on the most revenue producing activities that I can. And then after that point, once you become really successful there, you can either look at, because we believe it, that this Amazon can be a tool to help you get to what your life would be like if time and money wasn't a consideration. Hard work, no guarantee. It's not easy. It's not get rich quick, but it works. So if you wanted to create your own brand or if you wanted to work as a consultant, you could do that. And, there's some people that just take the money and run, that they build up their business, then they sell it, and then they take that money to go do what they really want. Because you do need to be passionate to stay in business for a long time. I am a total Amazon nerd. I geek out over Amazon stuff. John just looks at me like I'm completely crazy sometimes because I'm like, did you see that they added negative keyword phrases to sponsored ads? And he's like, why are you so excited for that? You're so weird. But I get excited. Now, again, I'm just going to say it again. This is not for everybody. It's only for people who are going to work towards a goal because they know that their dream is worth it. So you have to be willing to work consistently over time. You need to follow the systems and you need to work with a plan. So imitate before you innovate. So you might think that you have a better way than even if you follow somebody else. If you go find somebody else and follow them, follow their system exactly. And then once you're getting results and you have some experience, then you can innovate and adjust. But follow the proven system all the way through and make sure you're checking in with whoever that system is. So if you're working within our system, if you're not getting results, check in with us because we can probably very quickly identify what's missing. You have to have the work ethic to do the things that are needed, not just what is fun. Not everybody loves Dave Ramsey, but he says work like nobody else so you can live like nobody else, or live like no one else, something like that. He says it much more eloquently. But being an entrepreneur means two things. It means being very comfortable, being uncomfortable. You're always going to be stretching. It's always going to feel like a pull. You're always going to feel, there are going to be moments where you feel like you're the king of the world and moments that you feel like you're dying. But it also, you have to be willing to put in the short-term work to have the long-term results. We put in the work, and now my daughter knows a completely different life than she would have if we hadn't done this, if we hadn't worked so hard. My kids have a work ethic and a work value from watching us put so much work into it. They understand that the reason the water slides aren't busy on Thursday, but they are on Saturday is because everybody else has to work on Friday or Thursday. So you also have to have the humility to put in the physical and mental work to stick to the plan. So if you are somebody who says that the things that you want in your life are worth you doing the work, taking the steps because you're worth it, your family's worth it, or the cause that you want to contribute to is worth it, then you have to be willing to put in the work. Now, when you on the flip side, we want to think about if you could build a productive, a product-based business with as few as a few $100s, maybe on the upside a couple $1,000s to start with. A lot of people I know started with a couple $100s. Honestly, when somebody comes to me and says, I have $10,000 to start, I usually get nervous because they're usually in a worse position, which seems counterintuitive. And unless you're really hungry for this, unless you really want that life that you don't have right now, you won't be able to see it through. You're going to get lazy and complacent, and you'll go right back to the old way of life that you used to have. So don't feel that just because you don't have a ton of capital doesn't mean you can't be a really successful business owner. We started with just $100. Scalable, if you had a scalable business that doesn't tie you to a store or a shipping desk, what would that mean for your life, for your family, for your loved ones, for even your friends? How would you be able to be there for them? Maybe it's your church or your ministry, or maybe it's a cause that you like. Maybe it's a political cause that you feel really strongly about, and that if you had time to make a difference, that could make a bigger difference on a larger stage. What if you had the ability to launch a product and get proof of sales? So, you wanted to start, you've always dreamed of starting a company where you created this product, using Amazon to launch that product, get your proof of sales so that you can get venture capital is a great plan on Amazon. If you've ever watched Shark Tank, the most important question they ask is, what are your sales? Amazon is a great way for young brands to get sales. So we have an option here, and this is only for the people who are willing to do the work. Now, in our Unstoppable Amazon Academy, we have 15 detailed Amazon courses, everything from how to hire a virtual assistant, how to open and start getting started on Amazon, how to do retail arbitrage. We have a very detailed, 44 section piece on how to do wholesale. So very detailed, you read Amazon reports, how to manage your cash flow. We have a lot of different things. We also will provide reimbursement service. So if Amazon loses your item, they need to reimburse you for that, but they're not going to do that on their own. So we help you do that for you. You also have a private Facebook group that you can ask questions with to other people, and you have access to me and my team. It's primarily me, my husband, and my operations manager, Rochelle. So you have access to me on bigger picture, long-term vision, and then, I'm a terms of service and stuff geek. My husband's really analytical. He's also a geek, which is why we are a cute couple. And then Rochelle really handles the operations, this is what to do, step 1, step 2, step 3. So, but I mean, we could easily charge over $2,000. In fact, a lot of people in our space do charge over $2,000 for their introduction course, and that's only one course. But I only started with a couple $100s, and I wanted to make sure that it was available for you to do the same thing. So we have we have a special deal just between now and Saturday, and it includes yearly access to our academy and 3 bonus group calls. So you're going to get on a call of anywhere from, might just be 2 of you, depends on who shows up. Sometimes you luck out on only 2 people show up, and it might be 10 or 15 people, and we'll stay on the call as long as it takes to have everybody get a couple of questions answered. And you also get 1-year access to our Valet VA program, which is a training program to automate hiring of virtual assistants in the Philippines. Now, this is going to be $3.99. So you're going to go to bestfromthenest.com/John, use the promo code DEAL. I believe we're keeping this up until Saturday. And again, this is only for the people that really want it and are able to put in the work. There was a time when I would get really bashful coming and saying I had an offer, but now that we've had this academy for a while, I've seen the difference that it makes for people's lives. I've had grown men come to me in tears saying that this changed their life or they changed their children's life. So I'm no longer afraid to say, I feel like my program is really, really good, even though it's a quarter of the price of most other most of the other courses that you're going to find. I know that ours is the best value. And we care so much about our clients. I lose sleep over making sure that the people in our academy and in our other programs really get the best of everything that we do. Now, I promised that I would stay for as many questions as you wanted us to go through. So, John, are you back there? I can't see your pretty face, so you have to tell me whether you're here or not.
I am here. I'm
All
here,
right.
guys. So cool. So the link, real quick before we go into Q&A, I mean, so I'm going to be watching the chat group and feeding questions in for Robin. And if you got questions about the offer, about what's going on in the academy, if you got questions about how to get started, whatever it was, go ahead and start posting your questions. All you got to do is go into the chat box, and there's like a white bubble. If you click on the white bubble or the arrow right next to it and turn it into a question answer, Q&A answer, it will show up even brighter. I'm just going to show you how to do this. This is a test, and I will be able to actually pull that out. But if not, if you can't find that, go ahead and do it, the old way. Matter of fact, Robin, uh, Adrian said it's live for a few years like no one else will, so you can live the rest of your life like no one else can. Something like that.
Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. I was like, oh, why did it? You know, when you have those moments where you're like, how do you spell the? I was like, oh, I know this quote inside and out, but I forgot it.
People don't know. It's like when you're on this thing and you don't have no feedback, it's like you're trying to keep your thoughts together, and it's always cool. Look, guys, go to bestfromthenest.com/John with a lowercase John. And then when you get there, you're going to see the normal price, which is $499. You put in the code DEAL, and that's good till this end of the week. Deal in all capital letters. That will take off an immediate $100, and she's going to give you the bonus group calls, which nobody else gets, because I really had to make her do something special to talk to my folks. And 1 year access to the, I want to call it a valet VA, but it's not a valet. It's what is that?
It is valet
Valet?
VA.
It's a valet?
Yeah. Well,
really?
so you own the
So they're
car.
going to come and get my car and park it when I come home.
Yeah, so you're gonna hire the VA, but we're going to take care of the getting it to the parking spot. As far as we have the videos of how to train them, and like this is what you send to them, like, hi, welcome to working for me. This is what my expectations are, so you don't have to be like, I don't know what to say to this person.
Right, yeah, and I mean that's just so important. And this is the way to scale your business, guys, so that you can work on it and not in it all the time. So that's important. All right, so definitely go and check that out. We're ready to get a few questions if you are, Robin.
I am. I'm ready.
Okay, so Fitz starts off the question and answer. Says, so how do you get started with $100?
So,
how did you get started?
How did I get started? So I took $100, and we started going from garage sale to garage sale. I'm pretty sure my son's first site word was garage, and so we went from there. We built up a couple $100, and so we just kept buying and profiting and rolling things back in. So by the time we got to Amazon, we did have a little bit more money, and we just kept doing that. So anytime in our business, so after our first year of $180,000, we got super excited, and then we spent all of our money on inventory, and we didn't make the best buys that first January after. And so, we didn't have money to source for a week. We knew we'd have tons of money in 3 weeks. We just didn't have any money that week to source. So, what I did? I went back to the used books, and that's what we've always done, is that, moments when we got tight, we look for what's the highest margin, quickest path to cash, and we work on those things right there. So it really was one item at a time, and 1 hour at a time that we really did that. And it was, when my husband was working 20-hour days, I was working 18-hour days. I need a lot more sleep than he does. I was probably working 16 to 18-hour days, but I work a lot faster, so that's how we justified it. Cool. Yeah, but it was definitely worth it.
I started literally, I was totally broke. And if you see this behind me right here, guys, I don't know, I'm in the middle of the screen right now, that is books. And I am a book reader, avid, uh, uh, technology books and business books. So when I got started, I did just like Robin was saying. I took those books that were used books, and I already read them, but they were in great condition, and I listed them on the platform, and that's how I got the money to start. So I tell a lot of people, books in your house, and regifting stuff that you really will never use that people gave you and still new in the box in your attic. Absolutely fantastic stuff to get you started. So don't think that you have to have thousands of dollars to do this. You just need to hustle and go ahead and get started. And you need to know the right way to make the ad, the right way to get ranking, the right way to put out descriptions if you have to. So that was how I got started. Okay, question number 2. And Bobby is saying, Robin, I just went out sourcing retail arbitrage and found the market different than a year ago. I'm glad to hear about wholesale as another option. I've forgotten to pursue that. So her question is, can you share best practices for a newbie to start with wholesale?
So, the best practices that we would recommend for, somebody who's looking to get into wholesale is, you're going to need to run a lot of numbers. And then you're going to need to try to find a way to separate yourself now from every other person. So, something, simple like a phone call, meeting them at a trade show, or, I know this is going to sound silly, but there's another course that has a template. And one of the people that's in another group said a wholesale vendor called them back saying, we wanted to know what was going on because every other person, we received 60 requests for price lists from people with all the exact same wording. And we were really freaked out about it, but your wording was different. So we were wondering what was going on. And so something just as simple as customizing the template and, saying why you want to sell that brand. We actually teach you to go through a disqualification process to avoid spending your time, because really what stops most people with wholesale is they'll get like 20 wholesale lists and they'll go through all those lists and it takes them a long time. And then they find out there's nothing profitable on those lists. So we actually teach you a process to actually disqualify a lot of those companies that we know mathematically probably not going to have any profit in them. So you can focus on the brands that you have a better chance of. Young emerging brands are less likely to have an Amazon policy. And so you can help them create that policy and help them really kind of grow their brand. So as you learn the Amazon marketplace, you're going to be able to offer more. In the beginning, all you're going to really be able to, you might say, well, I can't offer that because I'm just getting started. Well, you'll have some experience selling the books if you follow our process, right? And then the other thing that you have to offer is, that your integrity, that you're going to help them with their brand. And if you're a person of integrity, people can just smell it. And if you don't have that, then, or if you wanted to add something beyond that, is, that you have time to work on the platform and that this brand will be a priority for you because you're not a giant company. And because, you're going to be focused on your success is tied to their success. You're not just going to be another one of 50 companies that you're buying wholesale from, like a company like eTails. So it gives you an advantage. So I would say, the biggest thing is to go through the numbers consistently. Expect to go through way more numbers than you ever thought you would. And then that's really where the magic is it's kind of like microwave popcorn. That first minute and 30 seconds, it feels like the microwave must be broken because nothing is happening. It's taking forever. And all I want is my popcorn so I can watch Grey's Anatomy. And it's just taking so long. And, all of a sudden, if I stop and I pull that out and, to check on it, that popcorn before it pops, it'll never pop if I keep checking on it. But if I keep the flame, if I keep that energy going into that, then eventually it will pop. And once the first one pops, then the other ones start to pop too. So it's kind of, like a traditional sales process where you have to have kind of leads in the funnel. So you're going to have to look at a lot of different companies in order to get some really good ones that are going to be something you can order at a high profit over time. We have companies that have on average 85, 95% ROI that we've had for 4 years or more.
Awesome. Hey, Robin, is there like a guarantee or offer to people you're joining? If they get in and don't like it, or if it's just not what they were expecting. Is there any kind of guarantee you got for these guys?
Yes, so there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. If we might ask you if there's anything we could have done to make it right, or if there was something that was missing, so we can make it better for other people. But if you want to cancel, you get your money back 30 days, no questions. No, I mean, no, you don't have to prove to us anything. If it didn't work for you, it just didn't work for you. And I know how much every dollar is worth to me. I'm kind of we call it frugal fancy. So I'm kind of, I don't like spending money on things that I don't love, and so I try to treat my customers the way I want to be treated.
Awesome. Okay, so what is the first tool that we need to make the book business successful?
So the biggest tool is obviously your Amazon Seller Central account. And the second one is you're going to need and in order to really grow the books fast, you're going to need you're going to need a professional account. So you're going to need that $40 account. And then you're going to get, we're going to have you get an inventory scanning program that's going to help you see which items are profitable. There's a couple on the market, and depending on what your capital is and what your long-term plans are, if you're looking for keeping your costs as low as possible, then we would recommend Profit Bandit, or actually Scan Power is free in the beginning, so you could use Scan Power as well. And then if you're looking, this is a long-term thing, you're planning on making a long-term investment, then Inventory Lab, which is a kind of it keeps track of your cost of goods and makes listing a little bit faster. That is, $40 a month, but we want to keep your fixed expenses as low as possible, because we want to have as much of your money available for inventory as possible.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Okay, and Mary Ann's asking a good question. She says, how about when there is no one else selling an item on Amazon? How do you do the listing and the pictures, and how long does it usually take to get that product checked in at FBA?
So there's kind of two questions there. So if nobody's selling it right now, then that could just mean that it's out of stock. So when you actually go into Seller Central and go to the Add a Product, if you look for the product by name and by ISBN, or so you look for the product that way, and usually most things are already in there unless it's a brand new to market item. Creating the listing itself doesn't take very long. We actually, in the Valet VA program, we actually have a resource to outsource the product description and title, which is what most people get stuck on. They don't feel like they can do that writing part of it. So for anywhere from 4 to 10 cents per word, you can outsource that to somebody else. But if it's just one book, you need to put it up there. You can write a quick description. I would say somebody who's probably, even somebody who's new, could probably do one in less than 20 minutes, as long as you have basic computer skills and a decent typing speed. So it doesn't take as long as it does with eBay. And the thing that makes it faster than eBay too is you don't have to take pictures for each item. So everything that's already in the catalog already has a picture and a description. So you're not going to have to take all the photos and everything that you need. You can take a photo of a used item if you want, but you're going to be able to list so much faster. We listed $50,000 worth of inventory and got it completely shipped out in 3 days. And it was a lot of different SKUs. I want to say it was 147 SKUs, and we had anywhere from 2 of an item all the way up to 100 of another item.
Yeah, and I got to just dovetail on that. I mean, if it's a branded item, and it doesn't have to be a major brand, even if it's one of the regular minor brands, it could be a private label brand inside of a store, all that stuff. I mean, Amazon's catalog is so vast. It's rare that you're going to find something unless you're making it in your basement that doesn't already have a SKU attached to it with pictures and descriptions.
And if I'm really completely honest, our biggest tactic with things that we don't have listings is we put it on a shelf for a week or two and then come back to it, and then usually there's a listing for it anyway.
That's funny. Now that's a good one. Never done that one before.
We'll
wait long enough, it'll be there.
Yeah, we have a wait till later shelf that we would do once a month, and we'd be like, hey, 10 things on the wait till later shelf magically appeared.
That's funny. All right. So Nia's asking a great question. She says, does this price include verbal coaching at all or is it just access to files on a step-by-step?
So you're going to get 3 group calls. So yes, you will have access to verbal, and then you have access to our Facebook group where you can ask questions. If we get enough people who are brand new, we might even break off the new people into a separate group, so you can feel free to ask as many questions as you want. That group is heavily monitored by several people that are all experienced sellers, primarily our team, but we have a couple other people that help us answer the questions in that group as well. And there's a lot of advanced things. So if maybe you had tested the waters with Amazon a year or 2 ago, but like Bobby said, things have changed a lot, then you're going to be able to get the advanced answers and some basic answers. So, and on the 3 group calls, it will be just like what John and I are doing right now. So, we'll open it up to any questions, and then you'll unmute yourself and you can ask the question, or if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can type the question and we'll answer it verbally. So you do have access to some basically it's like one-on-one, but other people are listening, and then you get to listen on everybody else's, which we found way more valuable than the one-on-one calls for everybody. It's a better use of everybody's time. So that's why we decided to go that route.
Awesome. All right, guys. So you know the URL. It's bestfromthenest.com/my name John, John, small j, no capitalization there. But then when you get into the order form, you want to use the promo code DEAL, DEAL, all capital letters, and that will get you the special price of $3.99. Plus, it will kick in those bonuses for you of the group coaching calls and the 1-year access to the Valet VA program. Right now, I don't have any more questions from the room. I guess everybody's gone over there and started ordering. So if there is nothing else from you guys, I want to really give much thanks and applause to our host today, or our guest today. I guess I'm the host. I mean, it's so stupid, right? Robin, I want to thank you so much for everything today. You were fantastic.
Well, it's always my pleasure. That if time and money wasn't a consideration, I got asked. My mentor is the same woman who co-wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, and when she first asked me that question, like immediately I knew, like I got so much clarity, because what I really, if time and money wasn't a consideration, I want to help other entrepreneurs. And so getting to help other people launch what was completely life-changing for us, I mean, it's like why I do what I do. So thanks for giving me the platform to share.
All right. And with that, guys, we are out of here. You are so welcome, Dave, and Dwayne, and Mia, and Marianne, and Fitz, and Bobby. Thanks for asking the questions and participating. And, you know where I'm at. If you ever need anything, I'm on Facebook. All right? And Robin's out there, too. So we'll talk to you guys later, and thanks a lot.
Thanks.